Lynx here, and well, yes, it is pretty bright. Recording during the day. What happened? I have a day off because I have an orthodontist visit, but that's not important. Where the sun always shines. Let's go. Hey, Blake!
Oh, it's you again.
That's right. It's me.
You look unusually happy for so early in the morning.
Is that a bad thing?
If I look at you for too long, I'm going to get a migraine.
Ha! And you look unusually... Blake was sitting languidly at the kitchen table. His head bent as though it were too heavy for his neck. He was nursing a cup of coffee in one hand. Strong coffee. Sunny could smell it from all the way across the kitchen. In Blake's lap, meanwhile, a familiar, fluffy feline was cradled. Lawrence. It really was a peculiar name for a cat, was it? Such a mouthful. What was wrong with Snowdrop or Mittens? What was right with it? Well, that slightly pretentious name was Blake Radcliffe all over. The same as ever. Okay. As per usual, Blake's tablet was propped up against a jar of chrysanthemums, and the medical documentary was playing in startling detail. Some things never change. Sunny politely averted her eyes. She felt as though she had walked in on somebody getting changed. In a way, she had. The young woman on the screen of Blake's tablet wasn't getting changed out of her clothes, however, she was getting changed out of her skin. What? Why do you always watch that tribe?
Because I happen to like it.
Ew!
Don't be so judgmental now. Tribe is very good for you.
But I just don't think it's healthy.
Not for the woman on the table, maybe. She doesn't look very healthy. A bit picky, perhaps.
You're sick.
Not as sick as she is.
You know what I mean. Can you stop watching people getting cut open for 5 minutes? Just focus.
Christ. You haven't been over for 2 weeks, and as soon as you show up, you start bossing me around. It's almost like Cynthia's come back to haunt me.
But I thought you loved Cynthia.
I loved her a lot. Past tense.
Don't you think that sounds a little too harsh?
Feelings change. People change. We all change. And speaking of change, Blake reached out and turned off his tablet. Happy now? But Blake, for his part, did not look happy at all. He was actually pouting. Sunny smiled despite herself. She couldn't help it. There was something oddly adorable about his childish indignation. So, what have you been up to? Like I already told you, I'm busy. I'm doing... Blood Brothers. I know, Mrs. Johnston. An admirable role. And did you get the chance to watch The Phantom?
Well, not yet, no.
Figures.
But I watched the programs. I've just been busy. I have so many lines to remember.
Welcome to show business, honey. That's what happens when you become a star.
Don't be so prickly. I thought you might appreciate a little bit of company, but if you're going to be like that, I'll leave.
Oh, Cheddar. I'm sorry. I've been having a bit of a rough time of it lately. Not that you want to hear about it, I imagine.
Your work.
I'm more concerned about the lack of it, to be honest.
You look just as bad as that poor woman on your tablet.
Sometimes I worry. I'm going to end up like one of those people someday.
Then why on earth do you keep watching them?
I don't know. Honestly, they're not as comforting as they used to be.
I can't imagine ever finding something like that comforting.
And that's why I'm the writer around here, not you. But that's enough about me. What about you? How is your musical going? I need some kind of controller that I can just hold in hand and click, you know, for VNs instead of clicking on a keyboard. Would be useful. I mean, I guess I could hold mouse like that, but it's too, I would say, heavy for that. How could I solve that problem? I need some kind of a remote controller, like super small, just click, click. Anyway, and it's going rather well actually. There are a lot of lies to remember, but I like a challenge. But what? Well, some of the others are messing around. Rosemary's the worst. I know how she got apart. And what is your little friend Rosemary playing? Another disenfranchised proletariat? No, she's Mrs. Lyons. Ah, another leading lady, is it? You don't look very happy about it. I don't want to be a leading lady on the same stage as her. She's always forgetting her lines, and she bumped into me a few days ago. Ouch! I forget just how vicious teenage girls can be. We can be terrifying when we want. You should see us playing hockey. Okay. If I tried to watch you during PE, I'd get arrested, but I can imagine. Rosemary didn't hurt you too much, did she? I sprained my ankle, but it should be fine. Fine enough for the cross-country run in a couple of weeks. I just wish the others would try a little harder, that's all. Man doesn't Yusuf are always messing around too. They're not taking Saint Ed Willie Russell seriously? For shame. Don't be like that. Blood Brothers is good. Blood Brothers is good, really. If you like mediocre songs and forced, overly obvious social commentary, sure. Anyway. Now for something completely different. Not entirely. A career survey was being passed around for Inform today. Do other countries really do that? Oh, what's that then? We need to write down what we want to be when we get older. Apparently it's to research aspirations of today's youth. We haven't had that here. Or something. Oh yes. I did something like that when I was back in school too. You did? It might seem strange that things haven't changed since the prehistoric times, but it's true. The higher-ups have always been interested in the futures of the younger generations. That's bullshit. And what do you put down in your survey? Ha! Would you believe it? Writer. Aren't you already a writer? Maybe once. Not anymore. You have published a book. So what? Once I made an omelette, that doesn't make me a cook. It's not the same thing. I haven't written anything in months, Sonny. He called her by name, what? How can I call myself a writer when it's been so very long? What I might have achieved in the past doesn't mean anything when you compare it to the present. Well, whatever. I mean, he's correct, unfortunately. What do you want to be when you grow up, Cheddar? I'm not sure. I like acting, but I don't know if I am cut out for it. Plus, that's the kind of dream little kids have. I get laughed at. I feel you. When I worked at a printing company, I never thought anybody wanted to be a writer. For it was what I wanted more than anything in the world. Talking about his dreams would have resulted in far too much scorn. Blake could picture it inside his head. The narrowed eyes, the thin smiles, the cruel laughter. Yeah, right. Like that will ever happen. You're an adult now. It's time to live in the real world. That was his parents had said. It was what his friends had said. It was probably what his coworkers would have said too, if Blake had been stupid enough to tell them. I mean, to be fair, nobody knows I do videos. It was what everybody said, and even if I didn't say it, they probably thought it. Everybody was the same. Everybody. Except Cynthia. But Cynthia wasn't there anymore. Now Blake really was a writer. He'd published a book, a few, in fact, but only one, under his real name. This was his full-time job. But whenever he sat down the computer, nothing came. It was amazing, really, how the words had flowed, even when he had a piercingly dual 9-to-5 job at a printing company. Back then, it felt like he never had enough time to jot all his thoughts down. Now he had all the time in the world, but the thoughts had stopped coming. Huh. It's like the less time he has, the better it turns out for him, right? Sonny, I know you think I'm a pathetic loser.
I never said that.
You haven't, but it's true. You think I'm a failure of a human being. Whenever you come over, my plants are always dying and my kitchen's a mess. I'm a mess too. I'm never doing any work. I'm just sitting in my kitchen, wasting away, and watching those awful documentaries.
Well,
you think I'm pathetic, and that's fine. I am. I'll admit it. But even I can give you a few words of advice every once in a while. It's snowing. Also, I know one side of my face is kinda lit up like that, right?
what?
Don't let yourself get too carried away. November 18th, 11:45 a.m. Blake was sitting in his kitchen, thinking about doing work, but not actually doing it. It would have been strange, out of character, even if Blake had been doing work. He sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose between his fingers. It hurt, but the pain did nothing to inspire him. He continued to sit, eyes blank and staring like those of a freshly gutted fish. He didn't even know why he was feeling so catatonic. Well, that was a lie. He knew why. He knew perfectly well. Cynthia. What about Cynthia? Remnants of her were scattered about the house like funeral ashes, for she would never use any of these bits and pieces now. Her mugs were still lined up in the cupboards. Some of her clothes remained in the wardrobe. A pair of her heels lay, one standing sentinel, the other toppled on its side by the front door. Her books were stacked in a neat, orderly pile on her bedside table. Her pale blue undies, both balls of woolly white socks and wispy underwear were curled up inside her underwear drawer. Her toothbrush was still in its lilac mug by the sink, resting tenderly against Blake's. Her paintings hung on the walls. Her peace lily flowered in the study. The poster that commemorated the 20th anniversary of Les Miserables was hers, not Blake's. Cynthia had been a big fan of musicals too, for her preference for Gerard Butler over Michael Crawford had always been a point of contention between the two. There was even an onion in the back of the fridge that Cynthia had bought in a free pack half a year ago, then failed to do anything with. Her presence continued to linger in the house long after she'd gone, like a faint nostalgic aroma. Just like the scent of her peace lily. Christ. Would Cynthia's presence continue to endure, like the potent odor of that lily, for years? Blake hoped not. It would have been easier, he supposed, if he just threw her things away, or on more than one occasion he had considered it. No more mugs, no more books,
No more dinky little Alice bows or her well-worn toothbrush or the watercolor paintings of the River Avon. But he couldn't get rid of that poster. Never the poster. And though he thought he could in rare moments where Blake was able to shake off the mounting apathy of the last half a year, he found to his dismay he couldn't get rid of her other things either. She would never use them again, but grief was sensible. Bereavement made Blake cling to her former possessions all the harder. They were the only link he had left to Cynthia. They were all that remained of the relationship. But why did it hurt so much? Everything hurt much, much too much. Mouse. Blake sat listlessly at the kitchen table, staring out into the space. He bit his lower lip. It was cold outside. He was getting sore. Maybe he could have used some chopstick. Cynthia's chopstick, melon flavored, still secreted away inside her makeup bag on her bedside table beside a neat pile of Lucy Diamond's novels. Never mind the chopstick then. Never mind. That was the pervading motto of Blake's miserable existence, a life of ready meals for one and sleepless nights of staring at the screen of his desktop. Never mind. Never mind. Anyway. What came after the anyway? What came after Cynthia? It had been 6 months, give or take, and Blake still wasn't sure. He'd never been very good at planning ahead. If had, he would never decided to become a writer. It was a poor decision on his part. I mean, you say that, but he's able to live the way he's living, right? He has an apartment and he can continue going on like that, which is, I feel like, not something to complain about. Maybe his book was pretty good. Books, I mean, one of the book was under his real name, right? The other not. How pretentious. Maybe he would make himself some coffee, perhaps that would wake him up. Not that he should have needed waking. It was almost 12 o'clock, noon, but he hadn't been able to pull himself out of bed until an hour ago. Dude, if I could be like that, I would take this opportunity. If you can just lay in bed until 12, oh yes, that's the life. It was a good thing Sandy hadn't dropped by early to see him today. She would have been disgusted then. Come to think of it, Blake hadn't seen her in a while. Almost 15 days. Not that he had been counting. His life was dull, empty, and monotonous. Even flatter than the East Anglia skyline. Sunny's little visits were the only things that really kept him on court. Not that he would ever let her know that. It wasn't like he missed her. Not the same way he missed Cynthia. Blake got to his feet with a yawn and a stretch. Sweet Jesus. He hissed under his breath with his very bare feet met the very cold floor. Oh. Still, it was his own stupid fault. He should have put on socks. No? But that sounded like an awful lot of hassle for an awful lot of nothing. He'd just... Well, not grin because he never grinned, but he's grimace and buried, even if his toes were curling in on themselves. He shivered. He felt weak, tired, thick-headed. His mother used to say, "Would the coffee even help?" Coffee always helped. Did it? That was a mantra to live by. If in doubt, reach for the Kenko. Blake made his slow, steady exodus across the wooden kitchen floor when
Hey Blake, sorry for the intrusion. Can I come in?
You know there is no point asking if you're going to open the door anyway.
But it was already unlocked.
So you're saying if I got burgled, it would be my fault?
Yeah. Personally, you should be more careful, you know. You know, my dad is a police officer. He always says his job would be so much easier if people had more common sense.
Yeah? Lock the damn door. Your dad sounds like you.
Is that a bad thing?
No, he seems like an upstanding member of society.
Well, thanks.
A pillar of virtue, if you will. A true paragon of justice.
Okay, now I know you're making fun of me.
I need to exercise my little grey cells somehow. And speaking of exercise, what are you all dressed up for, Cinderella?
I look stupid, I know.
On the contrary, I think you look wonderful. Do you need a lift to the ball?
Shut up! I was supposed to be doing cross-country in the P today.
Oh, cross-country is it? That sounds like fun.
It really isn't. The circuit goes out of the school, towards the lake, round by the fields, and then back into school again.
Sounds fun.
I think it's meant to take a whole hour.
Oh, happy days. I had to do cross-country when I was in school too, I remember.
What? Why do we not do stuff like that in Poland? For fuck's sake. I have to check exactly how cross-country goes. Cross-country. Is it like a certain distance or... Wait, cross-country cycling? Is that so? I was completely certain it was running for some reason. No, it is cross-country running, exactly. A sport which seems individuals run a race on open air courses of natural terrain such as dirt or grass. Yeah, okay, that's what I think. Thought. The course typically is 4 to 12 kilometers long. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, why don't we do that in this dumb country of mine? Holy crap. I wish we had that. Now that I think about it, they did do that in some of the slice of life anime, right? Like K-On! There was something like that. Interesting. Very interesting. I would like that. I mean, you know, we would have like, okay, let's go to the pitch and we'll run a little bit, but it's not the same. Or tournament between schools. Fuck, I did not want to do that. Somehow I clicked control and the text would jump ahead. Sorry. Let's continue, shall we? Not that they are very fond recollections. You know, speaking of running, I mean, the only time I would go running when it comes to schools and the tournaments was the primary school. In junior high school, I wouldn't go to those. Because somehow the choice belonged to the guy that was not leading the physical education tower class, which is a good thing as well, to be fair. And I mean, in high school I completely didn't care about physical education really. I stopped playing football actually at the time as well, so it was like whatever. I didn't even go to the football tournaments in high school. Then again, I mean, I would not like to represent that school, to be honest. So that's a good thing. Anyway. I guess you weren't any good at it, man.
Was I? Hell. I was nearly always lost. And because I was bad at running, for I was. I always managed to get lost. Huh?
How can you get lost during the cross country? You just follow the others in front.
Yeah, well, there was always quite a big gap between me and the others in front. One time I stumbled into a farmer's field and his horse nearly kicked me. My whole life flashed before my eyes. School was such a lovely experience. Especially as my parents had the wonderful idea to send me to an all-boys school.
That must have sucked.
For in retrospect, being kicked to death by a horse might not have been so awful.
What do you mean?
I mean, I wouldn't have to deal with all this shite.
I guess. Blake gestured loosely about this kitchen. There were plates piled up in the sink and the grease on the kitchen counters. How? And the spiderweb sandwich between the fridge and the wall. How? It was remarkable. Really, how much mess could accumulate over a couple of weeks? 2 to be specific. He said 15 days, so 2 weeks basically. 2 full weeks and a day. Especially when Blake was so lethargic he hardly ever cooked. The most he could master was beans on toast. I like beans, but beans on toasts? No.
Your kitchen's mess because you let it get that way. I have no sympathy.
Thanks, Cheddar. Well, maybe there's a silver lining to all of this. We're not getting kicked to death, I mean.
If you had died, you wouldn't be able to irritate me.
You asked for it. And anyway, I don't think I'd like to have died in a pair of shorts.
They made you do cross-country in your shorts?
And in the winter too. It was hell. I could have died. I very nearly did die. Kids today are pretty lucky, being allowed to wear tracksuits of all things.
I hated tracksuits.
You don't know you're born.
I'm glad there was the invention of thermal underwear. Because you put it on, you put normal shorts on, and you are good to go. And shirt. Yeah.
Next you'll be telling me that you had to walk 15 miles in the snow to get to school every day.
Hell yeah, I had to. Not quiet, this isn't a Monty Python sketch. So... If you're meant to be doing cross country, why aren't you doing it?
Oh well, you know.
I'm afraid I do not know. Please explain.
It's cold outside. I might get sick and then I won't be able to sing in the musical.
So you're bunking off.
Something like that, I guess. I thought I'd stop by here for half an hour since your house is pretty close to the running route. I'll meet up with the others in school after a while.
And all this time, I thought you were supposed to be a good Samaritan. It seems I've underestimated you.
Just because my dad's police officer doesn't mean I can't bend the rules every once in a while.
Damn. I didn't realize you were such a bad girl. You know, that's very popular with the guys, or so I've heard.
Oh, do shut up.
Anyway, while you're here, I might as well help you warm up.
What do you mean by that?
Don't look so mistrustful, cut! I meant I was going to offer you a drink.
Well, if it's no trouble.
Not really, I don't have anything better to do with my time. Besides, I was going to make myself a drink anyway. Before you put in an oh so delightful appearance. So, pick your poison. I have instant coffee, tea, hot chocolate.
Tea sounds pretty good.
Of course tea sounded good. Sunny would choose tea, wouldn't she? Blake was much of a tea person himself, but Cynthia loved this stuff. Had loved this stuff past tense. The tea leaves that Blake still had, stuffed away in the back of the kitchen cupboard, had all belonged to Cynthia. They were now more than 6 months old. Just like that lone onion in the vegetable crisper. There was lemon, ginger, blackcurrant, all sorts really. And Cynthia had never been able to drink it all. What a waste. Just like Blake's life. Oh, are you alright?
Hmm. Is anybody really alright in this world?
What?
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Ah, just thinking.
It looked like you were thinking about something depressing.
Life is depressing.
Are you sure you're good to make that tea?
Of course. I'd be pretty lousy host if I couldn't. I might be an asshole as you have told me before, but at least I am a man of my word.
Then do you want me to help?
I'll be fine, Sonny. You can help by telling me what you want.
Anything's fine.
Sonny, I'm old enough to know when a woman says anything's fine, she never means it. Now what do you want? I have awesome, Darjeeling, even green tea, I think a lot of different flavors. There is also lemon and ginger and...
Darjeeling sounds good.
That's what Maple would choose. Nekopara?
An excellent choice. And can you do me a favor for me? Can you do a favor for me?
What?
Since you're supposed to be running anyway, would you mind running along to my office? I like listening to music when I drink. It stirs the soul.
What music?
You should know better than anyone, my angel.
Should she? Maybe. Anyway, we're ending it here. We'll continue tomorrow. I'll record some more at night. And yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Where the sun always shines. Episode 3. And I hope you will be here in episode 4. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.